Hi everyone and welcome to this youth screening of Boiling Point. I'm Molly from the GFT Youth Board and this is my colleague Jordan. Tonight we're incredibly happy to be able to bring you this Q&A with Gary Lamont. Gary starred in Boiling Point as Dean, part of the waiting staff. Gary, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, entirely my pleasure. Lovely to see you both.
No, it's so nice. So our first question is, how did you prepare and manage working on a single take film? Was
Uh,
this like anything you'd worked on before?
no, in essence, no, not at all. A lot of the people who were in the feature film, because Boiling Point was first made as a short film for Philip Ballantyre, the director, to get an agent. Essentially, he was like, "I've got this idea. I want to sort of branch out from acting into directing." So some of those people had had at least a taste of it. I think a handful of the actors had had a taste of the magnitude of it and how scary, really, it was. So no, nothing had prepared me for that. I'd never done anything. The only way I can describe it now is like doing a piece of theatre in terms of its structure and rehearsal. But it was that live element is the only thing that I can akin it to, is doing a piece of stage work, theatre work. But again, it's totally different because you've got a camera and on stage everything's bigger. But you have to literally be here. And if you were here, you wouldn't be in it. So that amalgamation of the two worlds was very much stressful. It was quite scary. I won't lie to you, it was very scary. But so proud to have done it on this side of things. So proud. But no, there's never been an experience like it, and I suspect there probably won't be unless we do Boiling Point Part 2.
It was quite original to see something like that. How it's all done in like one shot. How was getting into character for you? Had you done any like hospitality work before, or
I have, yeah. As an actor, it's very rare that you get to be like, "Hi, I'm an actor," and that's it. It hadn't been for a number of years, I must admit, because I did a long time on River City, so I had to really go back into the recesses and sort of but then once you've done that sort of work, you always remember it's not too far away from you. I always remember being like, I'm going to keep him bright and bubbly, and he is front of house, therefore charm them. If people are being difficult, you charm them in that situation. Some of the cast members went and done a shift actually at Jones and Sons, but the joy of being doing this for quite a long time, I was a bit like, "Oh, I'm busy that day," because I had done it. Now, listen, if I hadn't, I could. I said to them, I was like, "I can hold 3 plates. You plate, and a plate." I was like, "That's all I need to know." But yeah, I was a bit like, "I'm not going to go and do the free shift when I can research from my own brain."
While it's possible to create the effect of a single take in post-production, as an actor, what did you think the benefits were in making the film in a single take?
I think energy for sure. When I first seen a couple of screenings of it before it went out into the general release, and the sort of heart palpitation, the heart pounding feeling that I got, I thought it was just because it was memory of how it really felt. But everybody that I've spoken to and who's watched it since, and the reaction has just been mind blowing. It really has taken everybody not by surprise, but it's really captured people's imaginations and their heartbeats. Um, and that sort of feeling of being stressed and scared and all that's how we felt, and that's, I think, how it conveys across to the audience. And that was really nice to notice that, or to have that have that relayed to me, was that that's the difference between cutting and editing and post and dropping bits in. How we felt is how it came across, and how you guys receive it. That's that same feeling of the quickening of the heart and getting nervous and being like, "Oh no, what's going to happen next?" That's how we felt doing it. So it's really lovely that's the difference, I think, doing it live. That's conveyed.
yeah, like you were saying, it is very stressful, very chaotic. How is the directions and the director's management of all that when you were filming it?
I mean, Phil Valentini was new to me. We didn't know each other before Boiling Point, and I have such great respect for him. I do think he is absolutely insane to have launched such an idea, but therein lies the magic. We can do hard things, and things worth having aren't easy to get. So his brain is brilliant in that way of going, right, how do we flip this on its head? How do we be challenged? You know, a lot of these jobs, I've got a bunch of jobs coming up, which I'm very excited for, but they're kind of much of a muchness when you get there. You know, there's no real, there's any skill involved. It's not about that at all, but it's not as exciting, I suppose, because he just absolutely gave us freedom to do whatever we wanted to do. And he wasn't precious. And I remember once, like, because obviously I'm the only Glaswegian, but Stephen McMillan is from Dundee. So there's only two Scottish voices in and around this sort of melee of voices. And I was a bit wondrous of to go, and should I clip it and give it my best West End of Glasgow voice? Or do I authentically, I'm from the South Side, I'm from Castlemilk, obviously via London now, but I wondered, should I hone it for ears that might not understand? And he was just like, what would you say? What's real? And that's the best thing that he gave us, was just the freedom to explore and the absolute license to just do what we wanted to do us. So I just kind of thought, and also because it was live, I was like, try not to take it too far away from me. Some people were doing accents, and to them, I don't know how they managed it, because I wanted it to be sort of fairly simple, something you could rely on quickly.
Yeah, so most of you guys just decided like your own character traits and that.
Well, it was written, you know, the character of Dean was written. It was hilarious because Dean is, so obviously I can only speak for myself, but he's a DJ. He's like, so I was a bit like, Phil and I kept going back and forth and back and forth. And I was a bit like, oh, like the whole DJ slide of it. I was a bit like, I don't really look like a DJ. And he was like, well, what does a DJ look like? Come on. So he sort of pushed me into that of going, I thought in my head, Dean would probably be like some 25-year-old, blah, 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 cool kid. But that's the joyous thing of Boiling Point, is that flipped all these narratives on its head, everything that's tried and tested. Why not make it somebody who's approaching 40 and is from Glasgow and is gay? And you know what I mean? All these things. That was dead exciting to have that.
And how challenging was the production? Like, or do you have any moments from when you were shooting that you found really difficult or tricky?
Well, obviously, this was all done with the sort of omnipresent of COVID. Was just, the world was shutting down. I think Italy was particularly blighted at that point. So we had this monster at our backs, and we only got, I always get this wrong. We did 4 films over 2 nights, 3 nights, something. Anyway, we were supposed to do, if our schedule allowed, we were supposed to have 8 versions of Boiling Point for Phil and the production team to pick from. We only got 4, and that was because lockdown was happening. And if we weren't doing it live and in that one setting, it would have shut down. If we had to be like, we're doing it here and then we're going to go across London and do it there, it would have been game over. So there's something about the alchemy and the magic of all of that happening, which made us focus. I truly believe it. I think we all sharpened our toolkits and went, right, go now, because we'd probably never get to do it again. So that was always quite hairy, that sort of like, are we going to get shut down? Am I going to get COVID? What is COVID? What is this thing? Other than that, you didn't really get a chance to think about it. With lots of rehearsals. So we had like a couple of weeks of rehearsals. Once it was locked in, you just had to trust yourself, trust the magic, and enjoy it. I remember, I think it was the second or the third one. The first one, I was just like this the whole way, like, oh, there's your drinks. And from the second onwards, so the last couple, I was like, just enjoy this, relax, have fun as best I could.
So you guys were working through that through COVID, weren't you? Yeah. So did you have all the just before?
Yeah.
Did you have to during it? Did you have to have all the protective gear on as well?
We weren't that far ahead, pal. Honestly, we had, so time frame wise, were masks even talked about? Masks weren't even talked about. I don't even think we knew we needed masks. So we were very early March. So say it was like, so forgive my time frame, but say for example, we locked down on the 15th of March, something like that. It was mid-March. We wrapped on the 6th or the 7th. So London was starting to get a bit, it's this, it's that. It's like I travelled to and from. I went across London on the tube to and from, not to and from rehearsals. We got picked up when we actually shot. And I remember just that weird feeling of, oh,
Yeah.
what is this thing? But we weren't that clued up on it. Thankfully, because there was one, I remember one person did drop out who was sort of supposed to be in and around, and she dropped out because she was nervous of it. And when that happened, I thought, oh, that we're in trouble here. Something seriously.
Yeah, in case it might shut down or something over it.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. If any of us could go back and see what was coming, I'm sure we all would have done things a little. I'm sure we would have all saved our money. We would have done totally different. We would have bought investments in Zoom, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I also just wondered, seeing the single take, when the camera's off you, or do you break character?
Yes. The minute the camera would sort of do this, we'd all be like, I'm trying not to swear here because it's youth, but there was quite a few silent expletives, and everybody had like lists. And Lauren, who played Andrea, she was like my wee anchor. I literally just got up to her, like, because again, the enormity of that, once the train leaves the station, you don't want to be the guy who's going, ooh, sorry, can we go back? So but that, even now talking about it, I remember how exciting that felt, because when it went past you, you're like, yes. And I love the fact that I'm part of the film enough that, yeah, I've got my wee bit with the American ladies and I interact, but what I'm most proud of is that I'm part of the relay race. Like, I take the baton, do a wee bit, and then carry the narrative on. And I'd even forgotten that when I first seen it. I was like, God, I really am in this more than I realised, or more than I had remembered, because, it goes through all that thing. We did it once, we did it 4 times, and then it was done. So that was really exciting to be like, oh, I'm actually part of that action of, you would see somebody come through the door and they'd give you a 3, 2, 1, and then you'd begin and you'd do this thing. Sometimes you would just go and get a plate and walk it through to sort of move the camera along. And when I saw that, how much I was part of that, I was like, that's quite exciting.
Did you or any of the other crew, did you all manage to remember all your lines, or did you have little hidden notes?
So it wasn't particularly, so it was semi-scripted, I think is the best way to say it. It was like bullet pointed of like American Girls, Rowdy, feels his bum, why am I working here? It was more general broad strokes. And then through rehearsal, James Cummings was the writer with Phil, and so the three of they were always there, and we'd sort of do a bit, discuss it. So we'd beats to hit, but through rehearsal, we very much got to lay all of our own foundations on there, and that's what I meant a bit earlier with Philip, that freedom of expression. Like, he wasn't precious. He left it up to us to sort of mold and find those characters, because there is a lot of me, like my doing in there. I don't play the characters that I'm like, but there's a lot of my quips or my one-offs or there's a whole lot of stuff that I layered on there. And that's the most exciting part, because usually you do very much have to stick to the script, but we had to hit certain beats because it was a one take, and the camera needed to know. So certainly for me, it comes round behind me, and then I know it needs to be there to catch me walking away. So once we did it, you kind of layered it on for yourself, give or take. Listen, it wasn't verbatim, but see, now thinking about it, I'm stressing myself out, going, how did we do that?
Blocked out your memory.
I think so. PTSD is real.
Going on from Boiling Point, what do you plan to do next?
What do I plan to do next? I mean, Boiling Point, I won't lie to you all, Boiling Point has been a massive feather in my cap. That even doing things like this, I know it might sound trivial, but my background for years was River City, and I'm very proud of it, and I had a great life on it. So to leave and take all these, I've been probably about 4 or 5, almost 5 years that I've been away. I never expected to sort of go and act with the cool kids. Like, Stephen Graham was one of the coolest, best working actors known to man in Scotland, in the UK, and around the world. And we worked together on a project called Northwater, which then led to us all getting Boiling Point. There's what I would like to do, and there's the thing that will happen because I don't really get a say in it. being an actor, you kind of have to just wait for the phone to ring or the doors to open. But doing something like this has definitely set me off in a different direction that I never quite thought possible.
You gave us some great answers there,
Yeah.
just for all of our questions.
Mhm.
Just wanted, sadly, I think we're out of time there. Just wanted to thank you, obviously, for doing this for us, and thank everybody who's just watched the movie in the cinema, watching this and now. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I hope you all really enjoyed it, and go and have a nice cup of tea and relax. Take deep breaths.